Looks like you lost another one.
Yo, 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 yo. Testing 1 2 1 2. I am back. I am back. It's your boy, Mr. Davis. I'm gonna be talking about a very important topic tonight, and I'm super excited to share some of this information I have, and just spread the word about what we should do as far as being black fathers, and setting our kids up to be able to have opportunities to strive to be better than we were. Many of us didn't have many opportunities to become successful. A lot of us are just trying to figure it out as we go, and many of us are starting to figure it out, but many of us aren't. A lot of us are still having trouble figuring out their niche and where to go from here and where to start. So I've been learning this information for a few years, and it's just a start. I'm no expert by any means, but I do have an idea of what could bring a drastic change in our children's future. You know, if they had something set up for them to become successful or to live a comfortable life without them struggling. You know, so let's get into it. So, black men, you see the title of the video. So, all black men, if you have children, is going to be very important that you do your best to make sure that they are set up to be in the best position in life when they become adults. See, as children, most of the time parents are just able to maintain them, keep you fed, keep you clothed, keep you with some shelter. But as far as going beyond that, it rarely happens. As far as you being able to take a karate class, uh, join a different, join a different, not different, but additional activities to learn new skills, you know, to get you better prepared for, being an adult. A lot of us don't really have that opportunity, nor do we have the resources. So this is going to be definitely a big, this is something big that we need to really focus on as far as making sure our kids have opportunities when they become adults. What I've been noticing in the black community a lot of times is that we expect our kids to know how to survive on their own when they turn 18, or you see some parents making their kids put in on bills when they get their first job, and that's just not what it is. That's just backwards. You got a lot of teenagers, in our community, they have no choice but to move out and get their own apartment. But why are you 18, 19 years old with your own apartment struggling to pay it? And then once you get evicted, or you don't really have a substantial career to really provide for yourself most cases, so you eventually have to move back in with your parents. And then guess what happens? Your parents is judging you like you need to get it together when the whole time they failed you. Yes, your parents failed you. I don't give a damn if they maintained you, which that's the standard, but I'm talking about, you know, if they didn't go far beyond the bare necessities, they failed you. I'm sorry. You know, a lot of our parents failed. A lot of us have failed as parents right now, starting off as parents. We didn't plan for none of our children. See, that's the thing. A lot of us have children out of pure selfishness. We had children just because we was having fun making them. Let's just be real. A lot of us had children because it was fun making them. Oh yeah, it's hella fun making children, but when they arrive, you scrambling to try to figure it out. Okay, damn, all right. I gotta make sure we got a place to stay. I gotta make sure we got transportation. I gotta make sure they got daycare so I can go to work. I gotta make sure that I got insurance for them. Like, we scramble at the last minute, but we don't be thinking about none of this type of stuff when we're in the act of making children. And I think that's what's been very detrimental to our society and our communities, because we don't really realize how serious it is when you bring a child into the world. and they don't have everything they need to be the best possible human being available to them. You get what I'm saying? Like, we don't really think that far ahead. We just, oh, I got a baby on the way. We just be happy that we bringing a new baby into the world, but we're not really understanding that we possibly bringing them into a bunch of turmoil, a bunch of pain, a bunch of poverty, a bunch of fucking struggle. You get what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, granted, a lot of people have used their children as a springboard to success, meaning that they didn't use them for money. They used them as motivation. Like, damn, I got a child now. I really have to get it together. I have to do something different that my parents didn't do. I have to do something different that my aunt's parents didn't do. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of the times we see many of our family members just struggling and struggling with their children. And then we all, sometimes we help each other, sometimes we don't. And we just not really united as a people. So that's one thing I did notice growing up, you get what I'm saying, is that we just have kids for the fuck of it. Without no plan, no structure, nothing set in stone on how we're gonna raise this child, on how these children are gonna become, the best they can be. You know what I'm saying? So that's just something I want to talk about because I believe that we could change that with a custodial account. All right, just give me a few moments. Let me just go ahead and share my screen. So I'm gonna go over what a custodial account is and all that, but I just want more people to start really taking having children serious. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, like I was saying, many of us, we just have children out of pure selfishness. And I'm gonna keep saying that because that's what it is. Because it's fun having children, you know what I'm saying? But it's not easy raising them and giving them the best shot and the best opportunities. Many of us in the Black community, we're not able to provide that for our children because nobody was able to provide for us to be able to thrive. So we just passing down a whole bunch of struggle. How many of you guys parents, let's just say, how many Black parents on average have left their kids something when they passed away, or had something set up for their children when they turned 25, hell, when they turned 18? How many parents actually had something set up to make it easier on their child to become better or to be productive adults and have options, not just because they had to do something, but they had picks. They could pick something they actually were interested in and wanted to do. And that's just not direct for us. It's not normal for us. You get what I'm saying? And that's very unfortunate because we just keep continuing the same poverty-stricken cycle. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of use my own mother as an example. She was a single mother, living in poverty, had 2 children. Even though when I was born, my siblings were adults, it's just that it was never no foundation for us to really be able to thrive. You get what I'm saying? And I remember one one time I asked her, I was like, why would you have a child at 40 something years old that you could barely provide for? You know what I'm saying? Like you've been living in poverty and struggling with these children ever since they was kids. Why would you have another child? She gonna ask me, well, you ain't want to be here? I'm like, not in this condition, no. And I know I'm not the only one that felt like that, because you really got to look at it like, you didn't ask for none of this stuff, but all of a sudden you here and you got to just try to figure this out on your own with no know-how, and you being judged along the way for the mistakes you make. You know what I'm saying? You get judged for the mistakes you make because nobody prepared you. Nobody gave you the tools and the knowledge to be better than what you were and what you are. And scratch that, we judge each other for that. We judge each other for not knowing shit. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. So it's like, how do we have the nerve to disrespect one another when nobody gave us a blueprint on how to be successful? Nobody had nothing set up for us to become productive citizens, productive adults. Even if we're productive, we're not thriving. We're just barely making it. You know what I'm saying? Who wants to live like that long term? And granted, a lot of people have that come from poverty. They were able to make those changes and become better and use that as a springboard to their success too as well. So that is possible, but we shouldn't have to keep going through that. Why can't our families leave us properties? Why can't they leave us stock portfolios? Why can't they have $50,000 in a mattress they left? Hell, why can't they even have $10,000 for their kids each? You know what I'm saying? Why don't we help our kids build their credit so by the time they are 18, we can help them save their money? If they want to buy a house, they can do it without struggling. I believe we should take some notes from the people that come here from overseas. They will stay in the house 10 deep, 10 plus deep, just so each family member can get on. But guess what? We judge each other. Oh, you living with somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it ain't always used to be like that, because that was kind of like the norm. A lot of family members was living together, or back in the day, 9 to 1 2 bedroom and stuff like that. But as soon as the oldest was old enough to leave, he or she they left, but they didn't leave with nothing. They left with nothing to help them become successful. They didn't have a portfolio waiting for them. They didn't have no property waiting for them. They just had to leave and try to figure it out. They had to get the hell out of that house because there's too many people. They couldn't bring their girlfriends. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't bring girls wanted to go on dates and stuff like that. She got like 11 million brothers at the damn house. You get what I'm saying? So we should definitely take notes from other cultures that move here, because I remember being neighbors with a African family, for example, and it was quite a few of them that lived in this home, but they each stayed there, and after a couple of years, next thing you know, I ain't see them no more. What they did was they saved their money, because to get their own properties, and started a medical cab service, picking up patients and stuff like that. So it was just like, it's incredible to see how other people work together without judging one another and making shit happen. You notice the Arabs, where we go spend all our money at the corner store. You notice how they raise their sons. The son be 3-4 years old at the damn cash register. Can count money better than the motherfuckers coming to spend their money half the time. They brothers, cousins, or whatever, come from whatever the country is, and they come there and they let them stay with them and work at the store and help them get their own store. They have 4 stores on a 2-block, on 2 blocks. Like it's be like 4 stores on each corner. That they just help each other build. So we got to start getting in that routine and the habit of really setting our people up to thrive and not sending them out on their own so they could fail and keep failing, and then you judging them when they need your help again. And this is the thing about with certain parents, some of y'all is fucked up. And it's not really the young parents. I ain't gonna blame them. I'm talking about you motherfuckers from back in the 70s and the 80s and all that. Even before, you complain about your kids not having it all together, but you didn't put nothing in place for them to have it all together. You know what I'm saying? You didn't do that. And then when your kids get a job, 16 years old, you want them to help pay rent. You want them to help put money on the fucking table. What kind of shit is that? You should allow your children, when they get their job, to save their money. Matter of fact, you should manage their money. Let them keep a little bit of it. But that's what we're going to talk about, this custodial account. Let your kids keep the money they work for, or keep some of it and then invest it, so that way when they become adult, they'll have something to start their life with, so they don't have to keep coming to family members for help because they have it together. I'm not saying that you can't fall off, because that happens, but on average, we don't set our kids up to thrive, and that's just what it is. And it's terrible, and this is why a lot of this crime is happening. This is why these young dudes is running around carjacking people, running around just willing to shoot, and they don't have nothing to look forward to. When I look at the news, all I see 16, 15, 17, 19, 21, 14-year-olds carjacking people, burglaries. These are children that don't have nothing to look forward to. I don't know what their living situation is, but it can't be that good if they got to go around stealing people's shit. You know what I'm saying? But if they had something set up to where they know they would be good if they just stayed their ass out of trouble, it will solve a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into it. So a custodial account is a financial account, such as a bank account, trust fund, or a brokerage account. So a brokerage account, where you go buy and sell stocks. And it's set up for the benefit of a beneficiary. So a custodial account, basically you open up a brokerage account. Charles Schwab, that's the one I use, but there's many other ones, as I believe Fidelity, Ameritrade, different brokerages where you can open up an account and you can purchase stocks in your personal portfolio for yourself, for your retirement, and then you can set up a custodial account for your children. And it can be as little as $20 a week, $10 a week, just something. If you a person that just like to spend money on bullshit that you will see no return on, start investing in your children's future with the money that you would just piss away anyway. Get what I'm saying? So, custodial accounts come in a number of forms, one being an account set up for a minor. Since the minor is under the legal age of majority, the custodian is often the minor's parent. In the U.S., this type of account is often structured as a Coverdell ESA, allowing for tax advantage treatment of educational expenses. Another form is a trust account owned by an individual or institution, managed by a named party for purposes of rapid distribution of funds in that account. This is commonly used for petty cash or for transactions that have very limited and clearly defined payees and transaction types. For example, law firm accounting includes trust accounts for dispersing funds entrusted to the law firm by each client for the client's benefits. So yeah, to break it down to simple terms, custodial account is basically an account you set up for your children. Get all the information and you manage the account, but it's in their name, and you could set it to where they can't touch it for a certain age or whatever like that, or usually after 18 or 21 they can start selling the stocks or wherever to get the money out. But I would recommend at least leaving it in there until they're about 25, 30 years old, and starting as young as 10 or 11 years old, even hell, as soon as they first born. Or as soon as they first born, you can start the account. See, a lot of people, they were like, well, I got my baby a savings account. Savings accounts are dead, especially if you plan on saving for long term, is dead, because the money you're saving, due to inflation and the value of the dollar going down, you're going to lose money with your money sitting in the bank. You get what I'm saying? So that's why a custodial account is best to have, because the money that you put in there is actually earning money. You can earn money on the money that you're saving for your children. So the reason why I say all black fathers should do this is because it's clear as day. We need to stop bullshitting and make sure our kids have something in case of our untimely demise. So definitely get life insurance too, but that'll be another video. But just so we can give an idea of what it takes to build generational wealth, and we can pass on and break a generational curse, but pass on a new tradition. We start teaching them young about investments. They'll have that mindset as they're growing up, because it's easy to mold children, and it's easy to mold them into what you want them to be. I use my son as an example. My son is 3 years old. He come and gets me, Dad, let's do push-ups. Dad, let's work out, because he sees me work out. He wants to work out, and he's been lifting jugs of water since he's about 1. Carrying him from the front door to the kitchen, jugs of water. Now he lifts 8-pound dumbbells. He squats with them. He does T-bar rolls with them. Train his back. Like my son, he say, Dad, let's do push-ups. So he's seeing what I do, and I'm learning, like, yo, if I teach him about this stuff starting as young as possible, by the time he my age, he gonna be ready. He gonna be set. Like, you won't have nothing to worry about. And that's what we should want for our children. See, a lot of us, like I said, and I keep saying this, we had children out of pure selfishness. We got people that will have a bunch of children, that have a bunch of boys, and they keep having children just because they say, oh, I wanted a girl. You get what I'm saying? That's very selfish to have children. Many of us don't have shit in our life really together to have children. We don't be having a house. We don't be having insurance. We don't be having nothing prepared for the arrival of a child, except for the free baby clothes and diapers and shit you get from the baby shower and all that. Other than that, there's nothing really set up for the child to actually have a real welcome into the world. You know what I'm saying? A lot of kids are growing up in unstructured homes, unsafe homes, and they grow up wondering, like, what the fuck did I do to deserve or have a life like this? Because I happen to be one of those children. See, the thing about it with me is I actually had a father, so he didn't really set up nothing for me to thrive, but the information he gave me helped me stay out of trouble for the most part. So I'll give him that. But other than that, financially, I had to figure it out through failure and getting it on my own and just working and grinding and trying to figure it out. Mother didn't have much, she didn't really try to get much. Was that her fault? I don't know. I don't know the history. But that's how a lot of people are. They just don't have no information about how setting your kids up to succeed, But like I said, we just keep having kids out of selfishness. We just having sex because it's fun. It's fun fucking. Yeah, it's good. But then that baby come here. It's like, damn, I really have a child. See, you don't really understand that you have a child. Not when they grow up. See, now my daughter's almost a teenager. So my oldest daughter's almost a teenager. So now I'm really seeing what it's like to really raise a child and how hard it really is, because they go through so many different phases in their life and they trying to figure out themselves, and they have different personalities and stuff can be bothering them, and you gotta figure it out. Like doctor's appointments. I just had to go replace her glasses, and she lost them already. And she can barely see, so I gotta get her another pair of glasses. She got a habit of just making up stuff and lying and stuff like that when you catch her in something, which is typical. Most kids do, because they think they're going to get in trouble. But I'm trying to get her into understanding that when you lie, it makes me more upset. But when you tell me the truth, like I'll be like, cool, I get it. But she lied about some dumb stuff. Like one time she had I don't like her having dishes in her room, and I seen a dish. I'm like, how this get in your room? Did I tell you I don't want this in your room? I don't know how it got in the room. Meanwhile, she's the only kid that could reach it, But then once I pressed her about it, she's like, okay. I was like, see, it's just that simple. So we gotta understand it's much more than just maintaining these children. It's really like raising them and making sure they have the best upbringing to be the best version of themselves they could possibly be. It will alleviate a lot of problems in the world we have if more children in the black community had a better shot at success, feeling like their life meant something. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up some different brokerages you guys can check out. Charles Schwab. And the beauty about the custodial account is I know a lot of people, they may get intimidated when it comes to purchasing stocks and investing in, because some of the stocks that's very popular, like the big brands, Amazon, Apple, and what else? Amazon, Apple, Microsoft. When you look at them, they might be expensive to the average person, because most of us are average. So some of the buying a full share of a stock sometimes can be out of your budget. But if you just can put a little bit towards the stock, each week, whatever you get paid, it can add up tremendously. If you just put $10 in, $20, $50, whatever, you can start with what you have. Like I said, most people should use the money that they were planning on just spending on leisure anyway, just going to the gas station, buying a bunch of snacks, eating out, DoorDash, all the stuff that we really shouldn't be spending most of our money on. They can go towards your kid's future, because at this point, I know I'm going to be successful as well, and I plan on being very successful. Understand this: if I don't make it to where I want to be, at least I know something is set up for my kids to get to where they need to be. because my life is damn near over already. Even though I'm only 30 years old, well, not 30. I'll be 30 in a couple months. My life is like, I lived a good chunk of my life already. So, even if I don't become as successful as I want, at least I know I got another 40 years, 50 years to plan for my kids. So even if I pay for their retirement, I'm good. So that's what I plan on doing, because as a kid growing up coming from poverty and not having resources to thrive, I know how it is. All right, so what are the benefits of a child's what are the benefits of a Schwab One custodial account? Every Schwab account comes with investment help and guidance, so you'll learn as you go. You'll learn about different stock trades, about different companies that you may be interested in. I say invest in some things that you possibly use. If you brush your teeth and you use Crest, and consider investing in Procter and Gamble. That's PG ticker symbol. You can invest in things you're going to spend money on anyway. You get what I'm saying? Most of us have Apple iPhones, so wouldn't it make sense to own some Apple? Absolutely. You got your kid an iPad so they can play on it. Wouldn't it make some sense for your children to own shares of Apple? Yeah, absolutely. Say there are no contribution limits, so you can put as much money in these accounts as you like. It's not like an IRA or whatever like that, for your retirement, where you can only put like $6,000 in a year. This is no contribution limits for your child, so you can run it up for your babies. Make sure they lit when they grow up, have the options that they need to have to live a life of fulfillment and not fucking struggle. So, for a child under the age of 19, consider dependent at the end of the year, or a full-time college student under the age of 24, the first $2,300 of child's unearned income is tax-free. So they won't tax the first $2,300. No gift tax incurred for contributions up to $16,000. $32,000 per couple for each beneficiary in a single year. All right. Amounts over the $2,300 threshold will be taxed at the parent's tax rate. So after the $2,300, you'll be taxed like they'll be taxing us, I guess. But hey, that's fine. We ain't gonna touch it. This is gonna be something for at least 20 years. So at least, that's why I say at least start your kids off as soon as they're born. Or if you're late to the game, at least catch them while they're 10 or 11, because Warren Buffett is one of the wealthiest men on the planet. He's worth over 100-something billion, I believe, and he bought his first stock at age 11. By the time he was 30, he was a millionaire. By the time he was in his mid-50s, he was a billionaire. So just imagine, you get what I'm saying? You start your kids off at 11, and by the time they're your age, they're already successful. They can live a life with no limits. You understand? So please know, all assets are held in the child's name. So these is your children's assets. So just imagine how cool that is. Like, if you could look back at your childhood and like, damn, I own stuff. Not just toys that you're gonna break, not just a nice pair of sneakers that you're gonna run and play in and ruin, but you actually own assets that's producing income for your future. Imagine if you go back to when you was a child and you just, wow, I'm gonna be lit when I'm 30. Like, I'm just gonna stay in school. I'm gonna just do what I gotta do, listen to my parents, and by the time I'm 30, I will be successful, because my parents are gonna make sure of that. So 20% of these assets will be considered when applying for financial aid. So if you plan on sending your children to college, if they account looking hefty, then you're gonna probably give them a hard time and getting a lot of financial aid from what the statement says. That's what it's looking like. A custodial account is irrevocable gift. It must be turned over to the child when he or she reaches the age of majority, typically 18 or 21 or up to 25, depending on the government state. Any funds used prior to the age of majority must be used for sole benefit of the minor. So once you set this up, you can't go in there touching it and think you about to be spending your kids' money. This is for your babies, so they can have something. So, like I said, majority, the age of majority, typically 18, 21, or up to 25. I say up to 25. Just let it stay in there compounding and building. Because when you could look back when you was 25, you probably definitely still needed some help back then if you're older than 25. So. So let's just go over a few things. This is, because a lot of people, they don't really know much about investing. So I'm going to just type in, let's just work together. Why is investing important? Let's see. All right, let's go to the 3 benefits of investing. Benefits of investing. Potential for long-term returns. While cash is undoubtedly safer than shares, it's unlikely to grow much. So a lot of people, a lot of people who don't understand what investing is, they like to just save their money, but in reality, you're actually losing money as the years go on. We see the gas prices right now, so in order to beat inflation, you should be saving to invest money so it can grow, so you can eventually retire without having to trade your time for money. Because let's just face it, if we don't learn how to invest or to flip or to grow our money or start businesses, you're going to have to work for somebody else until you die. Unfortunately, a lot of people, you see it at Walmart, they're in their 70s, they have to get a job as a greeter to supplement their income. Meanwhile, they're supposed to be retired. So invest early and fast as you can. Learn as much as you can. My last video, I said all black men should read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Not just all black men, but everybody that's black, period, should read that book. And the reason why I'm focusing so much on black people is because, yes, we need to build more wealth. And it's just simple as that. We got to get it together. We just got to start working together, and we got to start really planning for our children. So basically, a potential for long-term returns. While cash is undoubtedly safer than shares, it's unlikely to grow much or find opportunities to grow in the long run. Outperform inflation. See, I just mentioned that. Inflation right now is the highest it's ever been in, 40 years, I believe. And it may correct itself sooner or later, but right now it's just like, people with small cars is taking $60, $70 to fill up their tank, man. You used to be able to fill up your tank for about $20. So, yeah. And also can provide regular income. So if you invest in high performance stocks, such as, dividend stocks that pay you a check quarterly for each share that you own, if you build it up well enough, you can eventually live off that if you choose to. So that's good. Tailor to your changing needs. Don't really get that one, but whatever. So invest to fit your financial circumstances. So basically means that if you broke right now, don't be broke in the future. That's basically what that means. All right, so let's see why is this. Let's see if they, what comes up. We say why is investing in your children important? Let's see if they say why is investing in your children important? Let's read it out. Why is investing in children important? Investing in early childhood means funding proven programs and innovative strategies for children from birth to age 5 that strengthen families in their role as their child's first teacher, improve the quality of early learning environments like preschool and childcare, expand access to those programs. I don't know that one. I believe that one is talking about like send them to like the best school starting out. That's not really the one I'm looking for. Let's see if they got another one. Yeah, this is something I'm passionate about because I really wish something was set up for me to thrive when I became an adult. But now that I'm getting this information, it's best for me to just help my kids out and for us to help our children out. One of my best friends, he set up his daughter's custodial account, because I was telling him about what I was doing and giving him the game about it, and it made me proud that he actually was like, yeah, man, I set that up, man. I've been peeping everything you was saying. I was like, wow, that's what's up, man. Because a lot of us don't really think about that. We don't really see beyond right now, really. We don't really think about the future. But if you really pay attention to how time flies, like time is, oh my gosh, man. You look at how these years flew by, man. Especially after you became an adult. It's like, as a kid, going through school and stuff like that, time was like slow. You get what I'm saying? You just couldn't wait to get off of school, or you couldn't wait to have summer vacation and all this other stuff. But as soon as you became an adult and you had to provide for yourself, you had to work a job, time just took it's the same thing every day and very repetitive. So it just flew by, and it's flying by. It's already March. Next thing you know, it's 2023. Next thing you know, it's 2030. Next thing you know, it's 2040 and beyond. So that's why it's important to start learning and preparing for the future, and at least having something. Like, don't ever get discouraged about it, because let me go. This one acting up. Yeah, that one want to freeze on me. But yeah, man, we gotta just start, making it possible for our kids to thrive, man. It's just simple as that. It's just, we can't keep making excuses and shit like that. Like, the information is out there now. You get what I'm saying? It's out there now. Let's see. Maybe you could check out a video about investing for your kids. Maybe somebody can explain it a lot better than me. Let's see. Hopefully it don't give me no trouble, cause Okay. See, this is a black couple. See, they got. First, let's go to custodial accounts explained. Then we can go to how two sisters grew a 16,000 stock portfolio by age 11 and 13. Hopefully, just don't give me a hard time, because every time I want to do something, they act crazy on me. But then my kids, they be on their tablets too, so everybody's streaming.
Custodial accounts. What is that? Hey, taxpayers. It's Tiffany Gonzalez, CPA here, founder and CEO of Accounting to Scale. And we're back with another installment of What is That? Where we discuss financial terms and topics you may have heard, but we make them super easy to understand.
Whoa, that was loud.
Today, we're talking about custodial accounts, which have everything to do with investing and saving for your children. It's a great way for your children to get a head start and to learn about investing. So if you've ever heard the term custodial accounts and want to learn more, tune in and let.
That's exactly what I was saying. So your kids can get a head start. You get what I'm saying? Keyword, head start. We can't keep raising our kids up and putting them out on the street and making them just go out and fend for themselves. And then when they still need our help, when they older, we complaining about it. That's your fucking fault. You get what I'm saying? And I understand most of us didn't have the know-how or the wherewithal to give them the information, but now most of us is on the internet and we just scrolling and looking at nonsense. So definitely start paying attention to what's going on in the economy and what's going on in your neighborhoods and the crime that's going on. All this affects a lot of things. I believe in my heart, in my soul, that if we start getting these children together and working with their parents, because that's what my Black Men Do Build brand is going to be mostly about. Once I get enough supporters and we get people coming to check out my channel, and I get to network with some other brothers, we plan on buying real estate, as a group, and purchasing land and building up those passive income streams by working together, so that way we can purchase bigger buildings and have facilities where these kids can come get coached and mentored by grown men to help them balance out the emotion with logic, and then eventually we can have one for Black women do build, so they can mentor the young ladies on how to be good young ladies. But at the end of the day, men are the leaders, so we have to start coaching these young men on how to change the tone and what's going on out here. And the best thing to do that is set them up financially so they can be the best providers, and they have they'll be able to take care of their families, if they choose to have them or whatever. But just give them a better shot at life. So that's what we plan on doing at Black Men Do Build. So I'm gonna get back to this video. I'm gonna let her explain some more.
And let's get started right at the beginning. Custodial accounts. What is that? The term custodial account typically refers to a savings account at a financial institution, a mutual fund company, or a brokerage firm. It is typically managed by an adult for a minor, and the minor is typically someone under the age of 18 or 21, depending on the state. In a custodial account, there are three parties: the owner, the beneficiary, and the custodian. The owner and the beneficiary is the child, and the custodian is the adult who manages the account for the minor. Approval from the custodian is mandatory for any transaction on the account, whether that is buying or selling a security or withdrawing from the account. In a broader sense, a custodial account basically means that the adult has a fiduciary responsibility to manage the account for the beneficiary. A fiduciary, which is the adult, is ethically and legally bound to act in the best interest of that beneficiary. Each state has specific regulations about the age of the minor, as well as the naming of the custodian and the alternate custodian. Once it's established, a custodial account acts much like a regular account. The custodian can choose to invest the money, withdraw the money, transfer the money, etc. Custodial accounts come in two basic varieties. The first is the Uniform Transfers to Minors Act, also known as an UTMA, and the second is the Uniform Gift to Minors Act, also known as an UGMA. The main distinction between the two lies in what kind of assets either one can hold. An UTMA can hold virtually any type of asset. An UGMA can only hold assets of cash, securities, life insurances, things of that nature. Once the minor reaches legal age, the custodian account automatically passes to the minor, and they now have full and legal control of the funds. Should the child die before reaching that age, which is horrible to think about, but it does happen, the account becomes part of the child's estate. Custodial accounts are a great way to start saving early for a child and to help them understand financial responsibility. We hope you enjoyed this latest installment of What Is That? Hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So that was a good explanation of what a custodial account is. She explained it very well, to say the least. So yeah, as simple as that. Start investing in your child as soon as they're born. We gotta just stop having children for fun, and then complaining about them not being able to thrive. It's your fault. As much as we want to get on our children when they're not doing what they're supposed to do, it's probably because we ain't doing what we're supposed to do. We got to hold ourselves accountable for that. That's really what it is. We got to hold ourselves accountable for that. So let's go back over there and let's check out the two sisters who have $16,000 at age 11. That's pretty sweet. Most adults don't got 16 grand. So,
This entrepreneur brand logo was done by a top freelancer on Fiverr. Is simply wow. Those style.
skip this damn ad. Probably won't even watch this whole one, but just give it, idea.
Hey guys,
okay,
it's
let's
Malia
listen.
and Sanoa from Our Rich Journey. Today, we took over our parents' YouTube channel to tell you guys a little bit more about investing accounts for your children. There are not a lot of investment accounts for children, but one of the very few is a custodial account. And so today, we're going to be showing you our own personal investing account and how we're investing.
Today, we're showing what custodial accounts are, how to open them, and how we plan to use them to achieve our own financial independence. We're also going to go inside our custodial accounts and show how and what we've invested in our balance. Now notice how we set our own financial independence and not our parents, because they've already achieved financial independence.
Actually, our parents achieved financial independence and retired early at 39, and they share how they did it on this channel. If you haven't been watching, they did it through investing in real estate and the stock market.
Yes, and I'm definitely gonna do a video on that too. This is an awesome couple. They use the FIRE strategy to retire. They basically just worked and saved and invested their asses off, and now they live off their investments. And I believe they moved overseas too. Gotta double check on that, but that's what we should be focused on, guys. Getting married and working together and building for our future.
But today, instead of them sharing their investments, we're sharing our investments. Even though our parents are retired early, we're not investing to retire early. We're investing for financial independence.
In fact, when I get older, I want to be a psychologist so I can study the human mind.
And when I get older, I want to work at Google so I can get some free food and swag. But we think it's important to achieve financial independence because it empowers us. What we do with our financial independence depends on our goals, but the power of financial independence gives us choices no matter what our goals.
So this video is for parents, grandparents, aunts.
As I mentioned before, you set this up for your children so they can have choices and options. They can choose what they want to do, not just do something because they feel like they have to do, or they're pushed into a corner where they have to do anything they can to survive. You want your children, when they become adults and they ready to make decisions on their own, they can take their time. You know what I'm saying? They can pick and choose. Like, you know what? I want to do this. I want to do this. Everything you need is right there for you to make those choices and take advantage of opportunities that you may have not had if your parents had make sure you set up, financially when you became an adult. See, a lot of people in our community, they have children and they want the kids to take care of them. That's not their obligation and not their responsibility to take care of you. You take care of you and you take care of them. They didn't ask to be here. Like I said, we have children selfishly because we were having sex and it was fun. But when you start really looking into what it takes to raise and actually provide for children, it's a lot. And I understand that. But like I said, you don't have to make them millionaires per se, but they should at least have something. When they become an adult, they should at least have something to look forward to. Something. Even if you, whatever, like $5 a week, $10 a week, whatever you can do to put away from them to help them have something, then that's that. Do the best you can in that way. Don't just do the best you can and don't set up shit. That's what bothers me when they say people did the best they can with their kids, because a lot of them didn't do shit. They just was very just complacent and just was okay being mediocre. They didn't really try harder to make sure their kids lived a better life. So all that excuse, so I did the best, because a lot of people, they didn't. They full of shit. So make sure you do the best you can in that way. Like, doing the best you can in this way is putting that little bit of money away each week, each month, whatever you can do. Something. Just something. I don't give a damn shit if it's $1. You get what I'm saying? In 20, 30 years, whatever, they have something to look forward to.
Aunts, uncles, old friends, and anyone that is interested in opening an investment account for a minor, which is what our parents did. They opened custodial accounts for us, and with these accounts, we began building wealth through the stock market. But before we go any further, let's define what a custodial account is.
So custodial accounts are officially called Uniform Gifts to Minors Act, or Uniform Transfers to Minors Act accounts. So custodial accounts are saving accounts and investment accounts at a bank or brokerage firm that an adult controls for a minor, a person under the age of 18 or 21 years, depending on the laws of the state of residence.
These accounts are open in a child's name, but the adult is the custodian. Within these accounts, you can buy investments like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and even real estate.
Just to be clear, the adults are buying the investments for the children. But even though our parents are pressing the buy button, we are
See, I didn't even know that part. You could buy property for your children. You get what I'm saying? So when they become an adult, they had an option to have a stock portfolio set up for them, and they can have property set up for them. So if they want to rent it out to somebody and still stay with you, they can. I allow my kids to do that. Or they can sell the property, whatever. It'll still be an asset that could produce cash for them, and it'll give them a head start. So if you got a kid, if you got one, two or three kids, do your best to purchase a property for each one of them. And that might be a little, intimidating when you think about it. Like, wow, I got to buy 3 houses. But once you start learning about how it goes. It gets simple. I believe a lot of us would do better if we just actually tried versus counting ourselves out before we even got there. Because that was my whole issue with my credit. I would be nervous to check my credit. And then once I looked at it, like, oh, people would tell me, like, you just got to pay this down, watch your credit card utilization, and you'd be good. You're doing a lot better than a lot of people. You know, you're not doing bad, man. And I'm like, man, I can't do this, But it's like a lot of us avoid things like that because we think we're doing worse than we actually are. So we don't take the initiative to actually try so we can be better and have it together. So always strive. Just you don't know what you don't know. And there's resources out there too to help minorities get this stuff figured out. A lot of us don't really take advantage of them because we just simply don't know. And the process is usually intimidating. So, but yeah, that's pretty cool. You could buy property for your children. So get your kids some property too.
You're sitting right there with them and totally understand the process, which is why I consider myself the puppet master.
Okay, so why would you want to open an account for your child?
The question is, why wouldn't you want your children to get a head start in their investment journey?
Well, there are many key benefits to opening a custodial account. Number 1, anyone can open these accounts or contribute on behalf of a child.
Number 2, there are no contribution limits, but amounts above $15,000 per year, $30,000 for a married couple filing jointly, will incur federal gift tax.
Now this is powerful. This means that you can give a child up to $30,000 a year without having to pay taxes. And remember,
See, now that was a jewel. See, I didn't even know that. I'm learning stuff too as well. I didn't know that. So now that I know that, I can get together with my wife and show that, the more that we invest in our children.
Want to know where to invest $1,000 right now? Well, forget about crypto, NFTs, real estate, or the stock market, because those things have become so saturated and so
And remember, parents aren't the only ones who can give this money. Aunts, uncles, grandparents, friends, anyone can give it to them.
This is a great way to give your child a head start, especially if they're investing in the stock market. Number 3, these accounts are taxed, but the benefit is that they are taxed according to the child's tax bracket. And since children don't make much money, they usually have a lower tax rate.
Number 4, there is no penalty if money in these accounts is not for college. In other words, we can use this fund for anything. Now let that marinate for a second. You don't just have to use this money for your education. You can let it grow and eventually buy a house or even start a business.
Number 5, we already mentioned this, but we want to emphasize that you can invest in the stock market in these accounts. This is a big benefit when it comes to growing our wealth.
Now I know this all sounds great, but there are some drawbacks to custodial accounts.
Number 1, contributions you make to these accounts are irrevocable, meaning once you contribute the money to the child's custodial account, you cannot take it back. This is because of the assets of the custodial account are owned by the child for whom the account was created. While it is true that the child does not control the account until he or she meets the age requirement, the child is the legal owner from the start of the account. Actually, this is kind of a benefit for the child. There are some exceptions, like if you need the money for the child's welfare. But in general, once you contribute that money, it cannot be withdrawn. It's the child's from that point on.
Number 2,
And that's just a beautiful thing right there. Like, so that way you don't get tempted to take the money back out and spend it. I really like that. You get what I'm saying? If you really pay attention, like, you may have put some money up for your child and y'all may needed it for something. and you took the money out and y'all spent it on whatever you needed it on, and now you got to rebuild it. But with this, once the money in there, it's in there, and like I said, you could set up an automatic withdrawal on your account. Start off with $25 a week. You get what I'm saying? $25 a week at least. It may not sound like much, but it adds up. It adds up. You get what I'm saying? It could potentially grow up to six figures in about 20 something years, probably more than that. The more you put in, of course, you have a better chance. If you put in 100 a week, that's good too as well. So I really like that. That's pretty good. Make me want to make a one on the side for myself so I can't sell the stocks, because I definitely have done that before. But yeah, that's awesome. Once you purchase the stocks for your children, just leave the money in there. You can't take it out. So if you set it up automatically, the money is just going to keep growing for them, and they'll have something to look forward to. So that is what's up.
Once the child becomes an adult, they can withdraw the money and use it for any purpose. Parents have no control.
In our case, we plan to convert the account to a brokerage account so that we can continue to invest.
Number 3, the money in these accounts will be taken into account when a child applies for the financial aid for college.
Number 4, you can't change beneficiaries.
There are other investment accounts for kids, but they also have a set of drawbacks and benefits. For instance, there are Roth IRAs for kids, but we would need taxable income to contribute.
But yeah, that's all I wanted to touch on with that video. We're not gonna get too deep in that, but that's basically the basics of it. That's basically the basics. I just wanted to share this information with my brothers. Like, you working, you grinding hard, man. Open up one of these accounts for your babies. And she just said something that I really enjoyed. I really liked what she said. Once it's in there, you can't take it out. So it's no excuse for your kids not to have nothing when they reach 21 to 25. So, but that's all I got for tonight. It's your boy, Mr. Davis. If you come across this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and also donate to the Cash App. All donations will be used. I'll put it in a different fund outside of what I got going on, and it's going to be used for the purchase of real estate as far as getting these properties and these buildings. So we help each other as black men, because that's the thing. A lot of us, we want to mentor kids and help them stay out of trouble. Many of us are working regular jobs. A lot of us are not investors or entrepreneurs. So I believe if we get more of the men that are not causing the problems in the community, the ones that are raising their families, if we help them build a good enough amount of passive income, they'll be willing to come out and mentor people. They'll be willing to come and talk to the youth and coach them and show them that somebody give a fuck about them. But a lot of us have our own thing. We trying to provide for our own families, so it's been tough. But the way things are going in the communities, we don't have to step it up. We don't have no choice but to make it our problem. You get what I'm saying? A lot of us, we are on our own thing, but like I said before, our children, our families are going to have to interact with these children that's acting crazy out here eventually. If we don't get a hold of this shit, man, it's going to get even worse. They can run up on you, they can run up on me, just because they just don't give a fuck about their life, because nobody set up nothing for them to look forward to. You know what I'm saying? Born into the struggle, born into poverty. And don't get me wrong, there's some kids that got a good upbringing. They just choose to be assholes and dickheads. But I'm not talking about them. On average, most of the criminals and the bad kids out here, they was born into chaos, and it didn't have shit. So that's basically what that's about. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, share. You know, hopefully I did a good job in this video. You know, I'm getting used to this because I'm more of an introvert. I don't really like being bothered with people, but at the same time, I do know a little something. And you know, the people that I do talk to about investing and just changing their mindset on doing something outside of just working a regular job or just settling for a life of just mediocrity. You know, I give people motivation. You know, they always tell me like, "Yo, man, I thought about what you said." You know, I remember when I first started at the job I'm at now. You know, I was telling them about investing in, like, you know, this app called Acorns or Stash, where when you swipe your card, it invests the spare change to the company or the place that you spend the money at. Like, say for example, a lot of us do shop at Walmart or go get things from Walmart. You swipe your Stash card. You know, say if your purchase was, you know, $20.75, you know, the remaining 25 cents will be automatically invested into that company for you. You get what I'm saying? So just things like that. You know, the guy came back and showed me the app on his phone, like, "Yeah, I heard what you said, man," and I appreciate that. And the thing about it is, most people don't even know about investing or just thinking outside of what we've been taught in school. So this is why I'm going to be making this type of content on this channel, and, you know, having discussions about what we can do better to help Black men become better leaders and providers and protectors. So it's a wrap. Thank you and good night.